Welcome back. According to the Bureau of Statistics, about 63% of persons living in Nigeria are multidimensionally poor, with many living below the poverty line. President Bola Tinubu, through the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, is on the move to having a comprehensive social register that will ensure all persons living in the nooks and crannies are registered and given adequate attention. Well, the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, Betta Edu, has begun work by giving out to the poor and ensuring the rate of poverty reduces to the barest minimum. On her recent visits to Makoko and some other parts of Lagos, she flagged off the verification of the National Social Register, this to ensure adequate care and assistance are given to persons who need them. We have details in this report.
For the people in Makoko, it is rare to see a federal minister visit the community to listen to their complaints firsthand, verify the social register, give out food items, and offer free health care to them. One of the places visited by the minister is the part of Solution School and Orphanage in Makoko. Shortly after taking lessons from the ballet of the waterfront, the minister moved to various sections of the community, engaging the people on President Bola Tinubu's drive to end poverty and humanitarian crisis in Nigeria.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has approved that we go down to the grassroots and ensure that the National Social Register is a true reflection of people who are poor and people who live in remote areas and in areas that truly need help. Those who should not be on the register should be removed. Those who need to be on the register should be included. These are Nigerians, and they are the ones that have consent to Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, our dear president, and that's why I'm here today.
According to her, the federal government is trying to create an enabling environment for every Nigerian, particularly for those who live below $1 a day.
We're taking this as one of the sampling. We're doing both the community targeting and the geographical targeting. This is our first sample, and we have gone round. We have seen that certain aspects of the Makoko was covered under the National Social Register. However, the last area that we came from, they were not reflected on the National Social Register, and so we will be coming back to do a targeted capturing.
The population here is large. It's like we are uncountable. Although we thank the government for coming to our community, we still want them to build a school for us. I thank the government for all they have done for my family and community. But we want them to provide schools, water, and hospitals for our children.
The Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs says it will verify the register in all of the 36 states in Nigeria using a target geographical capturing system in collaboration with heads of communities, local and state governments.
And joining us now via Zoom is the Minister for Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, Betta Edu. It's good to have you join us on TVC Breakfast Saturday. And let's take off from your visit to parts of Lagos, including Makoko, as we just saw in the report preceding this interview. Tell us more about your findings from the ongoing verification of the social welfare register, or the National Social Register. Tell us more about the findings that you recorded during the exercise.
So first, we want to state very clearly to Nigerians that the president has been very emphatic and really, really deeply committed to seeing that the right people receive this support almost immediately. You heard it in his October 1 speech, where he addressed the nation, while he's carrying out long-term interventions to ensure that we can have a better economy, more jobs are created, Nigerians are in a comfortable, secured environment. He has to deal with the immediate, which is cushioning the effect of fuel subsidy and other economic shocks on the economy. That being said, the president has approved that we go down to the field and verify the National Social Register, which will be the document from which we can be able to pay the households. he has ordered that we pay 15 million households 25,000 naira each for 3 months. That's a total of 75,000 naira to 15 million households, which amounts to about 62 million individuals. Remember, we're dealing with multidimensional poverty and we're trying to cover at least 133 million within the shortest period. And that's why he has asked us to go to the field. I've been on the field. In fact, yesterday, I just came in last night from Zamfara State, where I went on a 2 days mission, still on the National Social Register, and to hand over 40 recently completed houses to 40 poor, vulnerable, and internally displaced households in Zamfara following the bandits. Now, we of course did our first work at the level of the office to look at the National Social Register and what are the indices that are available in the National Social Register, and how can we really be able to mine out the true people who are alive, who are poor, living under $1.95 a day, and those who, for real, need this help. That's what we did with the National Social Register at the level of the office. After the administrative part and the mining of the register, we set into the field to do a verification of the register. As I speak to you right now, we have persons, a full team in all the states of the Federation. So every single state has a team. They are on ground at the state. They're interacting with the state conditional cash transfer units, which in some states are under the Ministry of Humanitarian, and in other states they're under the Ministry of Budget and Planning. Of course, some other states they're under the Ministry of Statistics, depending on what your state or the structure in your state. And we're also interacting with the governors one after the other to see that they are part of this process and they are committed to ensuring that the right people are on the list. Beyond the governors, we are working with the communities. So the KUMOs and other members of the community, the local government leadership, to see that we get those at the grassroots who truly need help. Another thing which we are working on very quickly is the fact that we need to be able to get as many persons as possible to have an account, even if it is just tier 2 or tier 3 account, they call it, where you don't necessarily need to go through all the long procedure of going to a bank and the rest of it. You can deal with money agents and POS. That way, we can have a transparent system of transferring from one bank, which is the Central Bank of Nigeria, of course, to the beneficiary's account. So these are all things which we're putting as control measures to ensure that the right people get the fund. The reasons for these funds are simple. Like we said, it's a conditional cash transfer. The conditions include that people should be able to use this money to start up small businesses for their households, of course, micro and small scale businesses. This will help the economy and also help the household to be able to afford the basics. We're also providing this so that parents who have children who are going to school, especially the basic education, can afford to send them back to school, while we provide other means of incentives of keeping them in school, including ensuring that they have the writing materials and the rest of it to keep them in school, ensuring that they have the homegrown school feeding, amongst other programs that are targeted at keeping our children in school while taking care of their health and their nutrition. Beyond this, we are trying to empower these households to be able to get the basic healthcare amenities. So if you're going to a primary health center and you have a JCHU, a nurse or a doctor see you, and they ask for one or two things that is beyond what is available at the primary health center, your family can be able to afford this. All of this is providing that power, that spending power for families to get a livelihood, get their little kids back, especially for basic education, get the basic healthcare services that they require. This is the plan, and which is being implemented by the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
All right, Honorable Minister, once again, we want to congratulate you and, of course, commend you for the good work you're doing since you assumed office. But let's still stay with the social register. You said one of the mandates given to you by the President is to ensure that Nigerians in all nooks and corners of the country who are supposed to be on the register are captured. The question many Nigerians are asking after your visit to Makoko is that, are you capturing based on location, or have you decentralized the process through which Nigerians who need this conditional cash transfers can go and register and will be verified at their various locations? Take us through the process and how your ministry is supervising the Nigerians, wherever the locations may be, once they have the need for this conditional support, they can get registered and have access to the facilities that the government is providing.
So we are not having just one location or capturing just in one place. No. First, I must inform us that these names have been captured over the years. So in the last 2 to 3 years, these names have been captured. The first step we are undergoing right now is to verify if these people are alive, if they truly exist, if those households are truly there, if they have not moved, if they are still within the bracket of those who should benefit from it, which is the verification that is ongoing. That will take about 2 weeks, working with the state team and the team at the local government. So if you have your state cash transfer office, and of course the local government COMOS, which work under the NOA, they can help you to fast track your verification process. We are verifying that the people who are on the list should actually be on the list. Now, after the verification of the list, we will mine the data and know how many persons we truly have on that data that are genuine Nigerians alive below poverty line and should be on that list. Of course, this will drop the list from the 15.7 million we have to whatever number I don't want to predict until after the verification, then we'll know the number. Immediately after this, we will go back into the field for targeted expansion. We have done a geographical mapping of Nigeria and rural, urban, semi-urban, poor areas and the rest of it. We've done geographical mapping. Now, some of this targeted expansion will also include the pensioners, which the president, vulnerable pensioners now, which the president promised to carry along in this process, and other targeted groups. It would include them at this point. Now it's at the point of expansion. Right now we're at the point of verification. It's at the point of expansion that we can now take in those who truly should be on this list that are not on the list. We will be sending out, we've reduced the data points. So we used to have a data point that used to have about 60 questions to ask before we get the data. We have reduced it using the rapid response register down to 25. And I've told them they can even reduce it further down so that it makes the process faster. And persons in remote areas, persons who do not have any form of education, can be able to understand the questions and we can quickly expand to cover them. This would start by next week when we have finished with the verification and data mining and we are going back to the field for expansion.
All right, Honorable Minister, I would like to come in from the angle of transparency about this particular program, talking about the cash transfer. A lot of Nigerians have criticized the previous administration of this program of the conditional cash transfer and the homegrown school feeding program about the issue of corruption. How will this be devoid of any form of corruption, as government officials will not use this as an angle to siphon public funds? The second one is, what is your ministry doing concerning the plight of the pensioners?
So like I said, I'm already in talks with the NLC and the chairman of the pensioners in Nigeria. And we're working on modality to first get the data from them. As soon as we get the data, we'll go back to verify the data and capture the persons who are on their list as vulnerable pensioners. So like they told me, they have people who are pensioners, they earn less than 2,000 every month. These are the people who will be targeting so that we can put more funds in their hands for them to start up little businesses around themselves, and then, of course, take care of themselves as they age gracefully. They are the ones who will be concentrating on. They are a targeted group. So it is actually easy to capture them because you're not going too far. You're not dealing with so much, right? It's easy to capture them. Once you get their data, you just send people straight into the field and they go and verify that truly they are alive, this is where they live, because the data comes with where the household is and who is the head of the household, how many persons are in the household. All of those questions are what they're going to give to us. Once we get that, we send people into the field and they are going straight to target. So it's very easy to deal with for the pensioners. Now, other people who are supposed to be captured, we want to be able to do this in a very transparent manner. Those are the things which the president insisted on: transparency, accountability, integrity. He said very, very clearly, this must go to the poorest of the poor, devoid of political inclination or any personal interest. And he's counting on us to do the right things. And that's why I'm on the field every other day. I'm not delegating so much out there. I'm out there to see that we get things right and we can cross-check even what they are cross-checking. We can verify what they are verifying. It's a double check to ensure that the right things are being done. Now, we are making things more transparent. Even the fact that we want to move funds from account to account, we are also trying to get everyone who will receive this fund to sign the Disclosure Act. That way, as they sign on to it, we can afford to publish their names, let Nigerians know who they are, where their households are. And people can verify, independent of government, whether these people are truly Nigerians that are poor, where they live, and people can say, okay, indeed, madam, did you get this money? Yes. Can we see evidence of you getting the money? This is without necessarily asking us any question. So you verify by yourself within your community. They are not ghosts. It's not secret cult. It's out there in the open. Of course, initially when I said it, I was told, oh, you are going to run foul of the information bill where you're supposed to protect them and all of that. And I said, well, sometimes when all of this is in the name of protection, government is made to lose integrity. There's a loss of trust between those who are governing and those who they govern. And so for me, the best thing is to put it out there so everybody knows indeed this person benefited from it. This is the household. Please verify. Ask them to show you the evidence that they benefited. And you can say, yes, for real, these are poor people who benefited from these funds. So we want to run it in a very transparent manner that will build trust between the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the people at the grassroots. Nigerians must know that this is a grassroots person. He's a grassroots president. He's one who understands their plight and truly wants to provide solutions to it.
Right. Honorable Minister, you've been described as a community field-oriented minister. And of course, if you can see the pictures, you may not be able to see those pictures anyway, but you know, we've seen, or we saw how you were in Makoko, for example, from morning, and then we see that the day darkens, apparently indicating that you spent the day. You've also spoken about, you know, how you've also gone on to parts of the north for this ongoing verification exercise. But how much of a game changer do you think your approach is bringing to this social welfare conditional cash transfer initiative, and how far are you willing to go with your hands-on approach?
I'm ready to go all the way with it, all the way till the very end. If you've known me and my antecedents in public service, you would know very well that I'm a grassroots community person who wants to engage with people. Usually when people are in public offices, there's this sudden barricade on you, and people want to barricade you. Oh no, don't do this. Oh no, don't do that. And it forms a blockage between you and the people that you should see firsthand. So people want to go to the field and come back and give you long reports and tell you, oh, it's like this, it's like that. Meanwhile, sometimes on the ground, it's not true. So, but if you go to the field and interact with these people and even your workers and those staff under you, those who are handling the programs and the rest of it, know that their minister will go to the field and ask the people if they truly benefited from it. Everybody will sit up and everybody will do what is right. Because for me, it's to get the job done. I don't care if you're my friend or you're not my friend. As long as we get the job done in a transparent manner, I'm happy and fine with you. That's what gives me the peace. So I will go to the field every time, every single day, until we reach the last person, the last mile in this country. The idea of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is to get it fixed, is to get it working, is to get people out of poverty, is to provide a social safety net that prevents them from going into poverty. How do you know this if you do not interact with them? The other day I was in Makoko and we were interacting all the way till the night. We're out there talking, interacting. I met with the boys. I met with those on the canoe, those who live deep in remote areas. I met with them. I went into their houses. I saw what it felt like firsthand to be in their situation. And then as I went through it, I started thinking of other forms of solutions that can pull them even beyond the conditional cash transfer. The same thing for Zamfara. We're there till almost 9:30 in the night, not even in Gusau, in the nearest village to Guzau. We're out there, and thankfully the governor was also with us on the field all the way down to the night, trying to meet with these persons that truly need help and verify that we're doing the right thing.
Honorable Minister, we must commend you, but let's bring you back home now to the details. Let's go to the details now. How many Nigerians have been empowered so far since you assumed office? And how is the ministry following up with those who have benefited from this program to ensure that they use it in the right manner, which will give confidence to the government to support more Nigerians? Then on the flip side, I would like to ask what's the plan your ministry is having for young people in the country? We know that the large chunk of our population are young Nigerians, who many of them are leaving school and maybe do not get jobs. But your ministry, what plans do you have to empower Nigerians who want to go into small, medium-scale businesses, giving them opportunity to get access to loans and grants which will support them to develop the businesses? We ask this because we know that one of your core mandates is to reduce the poverty level in Nigeria. And of course, if we're going to reduce poverty, we need to give people what they can do to earn money. So I'm giving you that question in line with a program that the former administration initiated, the N-Power, which we also know is under your ministry. So I want you to align all this aspect together, Honorable Minister, which I know you will be able to do, touching on the N-Power, how we want to support youth in the country, and those who have benefited from the conditional cash transfer, how well have they been able to use them to give confidence to the government that this is the right approach to managing poverty in the country?
Good. So presently, I don't want to call giving people rice, beans, empowerment. That's just an end hunger project. And sharing of the rice, food items, we have done a lot of that since I came on board. But for me, that's just a stopgap, and it's under the N-Power, hunger project, right? The structured interventions will actually start with the conditional cash transfer, which will be directly going to 15 million households, which amounts to about 62 million Nigerians. The next initiative, which we're putting on the table, is the provision of non-interest, zero-interest loans to small and medium-sized businesses. So we'll be giving them 50,000 naira under the Renewed Hope Yaloja Fund, which is also known as the Market Woman's Money, and of course the Renewed Hope Jari Funds, which are capital funds for traders, and then of course the Renewed Hope Ugo Funds, which will be for farmers, and that's about 300 naira for poor farmers who have farmlands and are ready to go into the farming season and will be able to pay back this non-interest loans. That's another program, and that is targeted to cover 1.5 million households, of course, which if you have 1.5 million, what it translates to having an average of 5 persons in a household. Of course, in the northern part of Nigeria, that would amount to about 9 persons in a household. Now coming to N-Power, the program manager, the national program manager for N-Power will soon give a press release. I have in several forums tried to discuss the issue of N-Power. And what I want to state very clearly today using this medium is that we must go back to look into N-Power and understand what the problems are. So we would basically, in quote and unquote, suspend the program for now until we are done with proper investigation of the N-Power program and the utilization of funds in the N-Power program to know how many persons exactly are on the program right now, how many persons are owed and what they are owed. And going forward, we are totally restructuring the N-Power and expanding it. There's a whole lot going on. First, we met people who are supposed to have exited the program since last year. And they are still on. They tell you we are still teaching, we are still doing this, we're still doing that. And then you contact the schools or the places where they claim they are teaching or doing whatever they're doing. They are not there. They are not working. They are not teaching. Yet they continue to count that they are being owed 8 months, 9 months. As a new month comes, they say it's 10. The next month is 11. The next month is 12. We've asked for reports from the school, from the field, and over 80% of them are not there. They're not working. Yet they're counting salaries. That's one. Secondly, most people are supposed to have exited since last year, September. Oh, they say they're supposed to be paid an exit package. They're supposed to be paid this. They refuse to leave the program. Other persons who were brought on the program, of course, have even moved on to getting jobs and other things which they do for a living, and they are not really working under the N-Power. Very little few, very, very little, less than 10% of persons enrolled on the N-Power. Remember, the N-Power has just enrolled so far about 910 persons under the skilled aspect, and I think about 910,000 persons under the skilled aspect, and about 60,000 persons under the non-skilled aspect. So in a nutshell, about 1 million persons have been enrolled under the N-Power so far from its inception up until this point. Now, these persons who have been enrolled, within them you have Batch 1, which has finished some probably 2 years ago and should be off the table, but are still shouting N-Power, N-Power. You have the Batch 2, which has finished or should have finished since September last year, but are still on the table, still shouting N-Power, N-Power. When you came on the program, there was a clear signature that stated this is the number of months that you're going to be on the program before they exit you from the program. Once that month has expired, you should know that your contract between you and the government that you signed has expired. Your continuous stay on counting months and counting days doesn't help. Then those who were brought in as the last batch, which have not been fully enrolled, some of them enrolled, and they have not been paid. Some are amongst those who are saying we're being owed for 8 months, 9 months. Some persons have truly put in their efforts to do the work and deserve to be paid by all intent and purpose. And those people we will pay. But please, we want to make it very clear that you stop counting months. We want to totally, completely restructure the N-Power. As you go in every single day to wherever your point of primary assignment is, we will enroll Nigerian youths in their millions across the country. We will enroll them. This is now the renewed hope job creation opportunity. We will enroll Nigerian youths in their millions across the country.
Okay.
And as you go into to teach, or you go in for one health or whichever one it is, we must have verified ways of knowing whether you're there or not. We sent independent monitors 2 weeks ago into the field, and they're nowhere to be found. Yet they said you are being owed. You're being owed for sitting in your house and counting the months. All of these are challenges which we have to work with. And of course, at the back end, looking at those who are managing it, the consultants that were brought on board. Why was money kept and not being paid to people who should be paid?
Just a moment, Honorable Minister.
Those are issues
just a
around
moment.
N-Power.
Well, let me quickly ask you this question. Is the ministry planning to build infrastructures for Nigerians than just giving cash transfers to them directly? And can you please look at that camera and be sincere to Nigerians that the poverty level of Nigerians will drastically reduce to the barest minimum before the end of this administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu?
So the target is between now and 2030, in line with the SDG goals. We know we are dealing with 133 multidimensionally poor persons between now and 2030. And this we're doing in line with the agenda of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, which is the Renewed Hope agenda, with all of its 8 points. Basic on it is food security, which is ending hunger, and of course, eradication of poverty while creating jobs. Right. We, in this administration, under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, are totally committed to ensuring that people are truly lifted from poverty. And we can assure Nigerians that poverty will drastically reduce, if not completely eliminated, within this timeline.
Honorable Minister, we have run out of time and we look forward to having more engagements with you. Of course, these issues talking about social welfare are not exhaustive. You know, developments will come up, especially with this ongoing verification process. And of course, the stages after are all crucial. But we thank you very much, Minister for Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, for your time with us. We've been speaking with Betta Edu, who is joining us from Abuja. Many thanks again for your time with us on TVC Breakfast Saturday.